DreAllDay.com.
Now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is stop living in fear. Yes, stop living in fear. We're going to talk about why that is a directive. But before we get into that, I'm going to remind everybody, I have a text message community where I send out messages every now and then. You never know when it's going to pop up. That is guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point. And whatever time there is between messages, the last message will be strong enough to hold you over till the next one comes through. You can get that text by texting me. Join my text community by texting me at my number 305-384-6894. You can also ask me a question, share your challenges, get a direct response from me, because I do read and reply to messages to people in my text community. So my number, again, 305-384-6894. Number down below in the description. Other thing is down below in the description that I should draw your attention to is Work on Your Game University. That is where I do any coaching that is done is going to be done there. Anybody who I work with will be worked with there. Any group programs, any courses, anything that I do that is outside of the free stuff is happening at Work on Your Game University. All right, so those of you in the top 2%, those of you who are practicing that slight edge, if you even know what that is, those of you who are serious about getting to the top 1% in what you do, which is what we help people do, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. You can see your options. You can get on a free call with us. You can see where you're at, where you want to go. If we could possibly help you, we'll tell you how. If it's a good fit, that all happens at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Again, link down below in the description. So let's get into the topic, which is stop living in fear. The reason why this is a topic is some people, and some of you who are listening to this are guilty of this. Some people's entire lives are based around fear. Every decision that you make, every non-decision that you don't make, every action you take and every action you do not take are all based in what you are afraid of. Today, we're going to address this malady and hopefully remedy it, or at least get you pointed in a better direction than the one that you're pointing in now. Because the one you're pointing in now is taking you to very quickly to nowhere. So we got to get you out of this fear mindset. All right? Fear has value in some cases, but your whole life should not be based around fear. Fear is to be used selectively and as necessary, but not all day, all the time. So let's get into it. Point number one. Topic, once again, stop living in fear. Number one, anything could happen. This is true. Anything could happen. Anything. Right now, as I'm recording this, I am inside of a nearly 50-story building that I did not build. I am not an architect, and I cannot tell you any of the specific details of how this building was built, or how I am so sure that I should go to sleep in this building tonight knowing that it will not collapse on top of me. I have no idea how or why of any of that, on top of me or underneath me or any of that. I have no idea. So anything could happen when it comes to this building. This evening, when I finish recording and have dinner and all that, I'm going to take my son out for a walk. I'm going to cross the street multiple times. I'm going to walk through parks with strangers who I never met and don't know are there. Somebody could be a wild knife murderer or have a gun and decide they just want to kill the next person that they see. Anything could happen. I'm going to eat some food that I did not prepare. I did not grow. I did not see it prepared. I have no idea what's in it. It might be poison for all I know. I'm going to eat it anyway. Anything could happen. Anything could happen. Acceptance of these truths should not make you nervous. It should actually calm you down. So here's the mental shift that I'm giving you right up front. This should not make you nervous. It should calm you down. Why is that? It should calm you down because anything could happen. All right, the reason is the reason. The excuse is the reason. Anything could happen. You can't control that anything, no matter how many precautions you take. So if you're not an architect or a construction worker, you have no idea the efficacy of the building of any building that you walk into. Are you going to just sleep outside so you can avoid any building collapsing on top of you? I doubt it. All right. Are you an auto mechanic? No? Okay, but you still get in the car and drive, right? Are you a smartphone engineer? No, but you still have that phone on your physical person damn near 24 hours a day. What if the phone just blows up? Catches fire and just blows up right there while you're holding it up to your face. All right, nothing you can do about it while you're taking a selfie. All right, nothing you can do about it. And no precaution you can take for that except not using a phone, or not going into a building, or not getting in a car, or not going anywhere where there are strangers who you don't know. So you can't live your life that way. All right, you'd be locked in a room for the rest of your life, and they come take you away and put you in a straitjacket, take you to a facility, right? If you actually want to live that way. Anything could happen. You can't take precaution against that anything because it would pretty much encapsulate everything. Everybody understand me? So what you should do is go the opposite direction. Stop worrying about all the things that could happen and live your life anyway. I just told you not too long ago about how to get more life out of your life in episode number 2648. I also talked about it in episode 1124. You got to get more life out of your life. One way to get more life out of your life is stop being so afraid of everything. Because again, anything can happen. This is a paradigm shift. I'm hoping to engage in you a mental alchemy that allows you to release your worries and anxieties, since no amount of worry or anxiety will stop something out of your control from happening if it's going to happen anyway. Let me say that again. No amount of worrying or anxiety will stop something from happening that is out of your control if it was going to happen anyway. So if there's a person walking the streets of your town right now who decides that when they see someone who looks like you, they're going to pull out their gun and shoot you, you can't stop them from doing it whether you knew about it or not. So what are you going to do? Not go out the house for the rest of your life just because you're afraid that that person might be the next one who walks by your street when you happen to go outside? You can't do that. You can't live your life that way. I mean, not if you want to actually have a life. Most of the things you are anxious and worried about, as a matter of fact, don't happen anyway. Most of the things you're anxious and worried about ain't going to happen. And even if they do happen, you can't stop them from happening. All right, if a tree is going to fall on top of your car, no matter where you park it, don't matter where you park the car. All right, you park it in the garage, the tree's going to fall in the garage. All right, something's going to happen. So release these worries and anxieties because they do not stop things from happening. All they do is rob you of your current pleasure and your future pleasure, because anxiety is just fear in the future. That's all anxiety is. Worry and anxiety are fear about the future. So you're fearing something that didn't even happen yet. Whereas anticipation is the opposite. You're feeling good about something that didn't even happen yet. So release them. If you can accept this point alone, this will alleviate a lot of your anxiety, stress, and fear about life in general. This could change a lot for you if you can just release the anxiety, stress, and fear. You have a whole different energy in the way you move about life. Again, your circumstances didn't change at all. All you did was just stop being anxious and stressful about them. Because again, feeling fearful about what's going to happen tomorrow, it doesn't change what's going to happen tomorrow. Now, some action could change it, but the feeling of fear does not change it. So what's the point? Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is stop living in fear. Number 2, focus on the things that you do want instead of the things that you don't want. Here's a good thing about the human brain, the most powerful tool known to man, is that you can choose what goes on inside of yours. You can choose what it focuses on. Another piece of good news, human brain can only focus on one thing at a time. So as soon as you start focusing on the things that you do want, you immediately cease focusing on the things that you don't want, because you can't focus on both at the same time. You got to pick one. So as soon as you start focusing on the things that you do want, you cannot continue to focus on the things that you don't want. Every single thought that you have manifests itself tangibly some way in the outcomes of your life. This is just a fact of just the mind, body, life connection, whatever. There's a word for that. I don't know what the word is, but y'all get the point. Whatever you are thinking about, it manifests itself in some type of outcome. If you're focused on the things that you don't want, then you are magnetizing the things that you don't want and pulling them towards you, while at the same time moving yourself towards them. You are running straight into each other. The things that you don't want, because you're asking them to come your way and you're moving yourself there because you're thinking about it. So you can't think about something for long enough without eventually talking about it and eventually acting on it. This is the way that it works. You think about anything long enough, you will eventually find a way to talk about it, then you'll find a way to act on it. Anything. So how about putting that same energy towards things that you want? Because then you're attracting them to you and you're attracting yourself to them. And the biggest challenge that people have with this is when I say something like that, they say, well, Dre, all right, well, I want a lot of money. But then the first thought you have right after that is why you can't have the a lot of money. So you just killed it. So as soon as you had the thought, you killed it immediately. You just killed it. You killed the idea as soon as you had it. As soon as it was conceived, you murdered it. Also keep in mind, folks, that focus is a force multiplier, meaning whatever you focus on, you multiply the force of that thing and its presence in your world. You focus on things that you don't want, you are increasing the likelihood that they happen and that they plant themselves in your life, or you are increasing the likelihood that they stay around in your life, they already exist. So you keep focusing on something that you hate in your life, and you're just focusing on why you hate it instead of focusing on getting some energy to do something about it. Those are two different ways you can use that energy of focus. You're just focusing on why you don't like it and why it's so bad and why this sucks and why it's pissing you off. All you're doing is increasing its position in your life. You're increasing its let's just call it a position, for lack of a better term. Focus on the things that you do want, on the other hand. You have the exact same effect on things that you are looking for and what you desire. Also keep in mind that focus enlarges things. You focus on what you're afraid of, you'll only come up with more reasons to be afraid, to the point that you are completely paralyzed by the fear. The more you focus on things you don't want, you eventually paralyze yourself in focusing on them because you can't think of anything else. Again, you can use this exact same energy towards something that you actually want. So use it wisely. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is stop living in fear. Number 3, most people live in a state of perpetual fear. They're just afraid of stuff all day, every day. They're just worrying about what is the next thing I'm supposed to be afraid of. They go a minute without being afraid of anything. It's just because they forgot to find something to focus on to be afraid of. Then they find something to be afraid of and they focus on that. It just gets bigger and bigger in their lives. So they are pretty much paralyzed by that fear. Just on this point alone, you should want to go in the opposite direction. Why? Why should you want to go in the opposite direction just on that point alone, that most people live in a state of fear? Because you don't want to have too much in common with the way most people think. Most people are wrong about everything, especially things involving success, happiness, and accomplishment. So anything involving the kind of things that you want in life, you should never listen to what most people do, because most people are wrong. Anything involving success, happiness, accomplishment, forward thinking, growth, money, achievement, those kind of things. Anytime you find yourself having too much in common with most people, you're probably doing the wrong thing. You don't want to have too much in common with the masses of people, because the masses of people are average by definition. So you should try being the opposite of most people and see how that goes instead of living in a state of perpetual fear. And when you get out of living in fear, then you create a vacuum in which you can start living in anticipation. You can start living in boldness. You can start living in forward-thinking, confident energy, maybe discipline, mental toughness. Any one of the principles of the work on your game philosophy is all about moving yourself forward and improving yourself and advancing, instead of focusing on what you're afraid of, which is what, again, a lot of people do. And you don't want to have too much in common with a lot of people. Let's recap today's class, which is stop living in fear. Some people's entire lives are based around what they're afraid of. So today we're going to address this malady again, hope to remedy it, point you in the right direction. Number 1, anything could happen. This should not make you nervous. It should calm you down, because anything can happen. You can't control it, no matter how many precautions you take. So you should go through life calm, knowing that anything could happen and you will be ready to deal with it, whatever it happens to be. That is what mental toughness is about. And this is also just a Zen meditative state of mind, that most of what happens in life, 99% of it, you have no control over. You only control the 1%, which is what you do, your response to things and your preparation of things, but you can't control what actually takes place. A lot of it is completely out of your hands, and you don't even know it's going to happen until it happens. This is what we call life, everybody. And there's no amount of worrying or anxiety is going to change that. Point number 2, focus on what you do want, not what you don't want. This is a simple concept, and this is a very powerful one, because as soon as you stop focusing on what you don't want, focus on what you do want, you immediately cannot focus on anything else. You can only focus on one thing at a time. This is a human limitation. So you should choose consciously what to focus on. Keeping in mind that focus is a force multiplier. The longer you stay focused on any one thing, the stronger that focus becomes, and the stronger its results. Point number 3, most people live in a state of perpetual fear. Just on this point alone, you should want to go in the opposite direction, because you don't want to have too much in common with the way that most people think. Most people are wrong about anything involving forward movement, achievement, money, success, happiness, and accomplishment. So any of those areas in which you find yourself having a similar idea to most people, start thinking the exact opposite of that immediately. Because again, most people are average by definition. Try being the opposite of most people and see how that turns out for you. That said, text me so you can get these messages that I send intermittently. So you can be focused, sharp, and on point. You also can ask me questions, share your challenges with me, get a direct response from me. My number is 305-384-6894. And Work on Your Game University. That is for the people who are in or want to be in the top 2% of performers in your space. We will help you to do that, starting with your mindset, then go into a game plan, a strategy, a system to make it work, and accountability to hold everybody's feet to the fire consistently. That is all at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Links and that number down below in the description. Work on your game. Dre, all